This is the I Love Success podcast. I'm Peter Jumrukovsky, and I have made a vow to myself to help as many people as possible to achieve their dreams. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome back to the I Love Success podcast. I'm so happy that you're here today because we're going to share an amazing journey. Her name is Isabella Löwengrip, and she's one of the biggest social influencers in Northern Europe, with a following of more than 1.8 million unique followers every week from all over the world. We sat down and talked about how it is to build businesses, how it is to live a life as a public person, and facing your fears and following your dreams. So kick back, relax, and enjoy this conversation. Welcome, Isabella Löwengrip.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited. I saw a post, you were in LA, actually a post from Ashkampuya. So I was like, wow, this is the opportunity to talk with someone that I admire.
Oh.
And you're here, so let's just have some fun. The first question I want to ask you, I'm always starting out very light. That is, who is Isabella at the core as a human being?
Oh, I always been very independent. If you have read about Pippi Longstocking, that's my childhood, and both in a good and also, of course, in a bad way. I moved out when I was 14 years old. Had a tough childhood, so I was forced to be very independent quite early, and of course that have, it really affects me, and today if you started to earn your first money when you're 14, you're going to school, you're taking care of yourself, of course it's gonna affect you. So I'm very grateful as a person. Always smiling, always happy.
I love that.
I always trying to be very generous and help people. And I think the combination of being independent, driven, kind, and happy makes you, it's a good recipe for to succeed, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And one thing that I've noticed, as I told you, I've done about 130 podcasts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've been talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And one thing that I find in common, that inner drive to succeed, a lot of times come from that you want to be loved, and a lot of times it is a tough childhood or some other type of drive. Can you relate to that? Why you're pushing so hard? Is that the need for being loved in this world?
I don't think it's about love, to be honest. It's more about to be able to stand on my own feet. To know that I can pay my rent, I can give my kids a great childhood. We can do fun things. So it's more about know that I can pay for myself. I'm very independent. I don't have to find a guy that would pay for me.
And I love that. We like in this world and day and age, it's so amazing to create your own life, right? And I want to kind of go back to when you were 14 and kind of that. Do you remember that day or days where you were kind of thinking, no, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna do this? Can you just walk us through that experience?
Yes. So my parents, they got me when they were very young, and they were trying to manage their own career at the same time, but they, it was a tough time for them. I was living with my dad, and he didn't care about having, it sounds silly, but he didn't care about having soap at home or sheets in the bed. It was a very guy home. Guy. A lot of TV, playing TV,
video games,
and he was kind of childish. But he also had, he was struggling with his problems and maybe too much alcohol. So I realized very early, I think I was 12 when I decided I have to move. So we have a thing in Sweden, like a social care, So they were, visiting us and see if should I stay at like a foster home or should I, how can they help me?
Yeah.
But then I decided that I wanted to live by myself.
Yeah.
And it sounds strange to have to be 14-year-old and to move by yourself. That nobody said, this is not okay.
Yeah.
What's your parent? Well, is that okay for them?
Yeah.
But at that time, nobody, was caring so much about that. So I just moved. And I remember how I was going to the grocery store, was buying yogurt.
Yeah, what did you cook at that time? Oh my God.
So I was eating like two things. Yeah. I was eating yogurt and cereals, and I was eating like a pasta rouge, like pasta with ketchup.
Yeah.
And sometimes I bought like cheese on top of it.
That's right.
But because I think I have like an old soul.
Yeah.
I was always quite, I was actually doing good all the time. I was never out with guys doing party, and because that can be quite, if you're alone, 14-year-old, you can end up with the wrong guys.
It's very easy to start searching for the wrong things, right?
Yes.
But
I was going to the library.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the library.
What did you read?
I read everything. I read everything. I think I went through the entire teenager bookshelf, everything. I was very alone, but I went to school, and from that, because I was bullied in school at the same time, so everything was tough. But then I realized that you can start a blog. So at that time, I was one of the first in Sweden to actually start a blog.
This was very early.
It was 2005.
Yeah.
And for me, the blog were more like I was creating my own book online.
Yeah.
And I could create my own characters. I could do whatever I want. And I always been, I love to write. So I was making the character up, blonde Bella.
Yeah.
And
did you have pictures at this time, or no one knew who you were at this time?
Nobody knew.
Oh wow.
So I was creating like the perfect life for her.
Yeah.
My idol at that point was Paris Hilton. Yeah. So you can imagine, it was a lot of pink furs, champagne and stuff. So, so I was sitting there alone in my apartment, 14 years old, with no friends, and then I just created this fake world.
Yeah.
And people started to read it, and after 1 year, it was the biggest one in Sweden.
That's so cool. And we're going to talk more, obviously, about your blog and how you actually translated that into a business, because you're doing very well now. Because that's a cool thing that I really want to share. But I want to ask you, what do you want to say to these young girls or guys out there that are like 12, 13, they have problems at home and they have a dream, they want to do something, but they don't fit in. People are making fun of them. I was in school, people made a lot of fun of me because I was overweight, and I found my outlet in the martial arts, because when I was good at something, it made me feel good and it gave me confidence. Probably a little bit what you were doing, escaping something. And what do you want to say to those people? It could even be older people that are going through this tough thing when people are like hating on them.
Yes. And I just want to say that you don't need anybody there. You don't, because people are always looking for some support.
Yeah.
Like, is there somebody are believing in me? Yeah. And I really want to say that you should only focus on one thing, and that is to become your own best friend. Yeah. That you can stand in your mirror and see yourself and like, hey, I believe in you. Yeah. You just go get your goals and just try. And I felt quite young, when I was seeing myself in the mirror. I knew that I was able to do something.
Where did that come from? Was that from reading something, or was it from your own mindset as an individual, or like where did that come from?
I just felt it from inside. And when I was bullied in school, I was sitting in the bench. I had a lot of problems with acne. So all the guys was like, talking about that.
And thank you for sharing that so open-heartedly. I know you've done a lot of videos about this and actually sharing, and it's so hard because I know I broke my nose a lot of times, and I'm a guy, I'm a fighter, but still it's psychological for me. You know, what are people gonna think about me, and how do I look from different angles? You know, I think so. And we all go through this in different layers, right? So I love that you're talking about that. So yeah, feel free to share.
No, and you know, to be a young girl with all the hormones, you know, you're about to become a woman, and everybody's trying to be pretty, and you're sitting there having the problem with acne, and it's impossible to do something about it. Especially when you live with your dad, and he doesn't understand nothing about buying the right products.
Did you have any female role models that you could talk to at that time?
Of course, you know, I have a mother, but it was the relationship wasn't that strong, so I couldn't talk to her. But when I was sitting there in my bench at school and the guys were, you know, doing fun of me, even though it was so hard and I was going home and I was crying, I felt like I was a monster and I didn't deserve anything. Even then, I felt like something within myself saying that this is not the end. I'm gonna make something from this. I felt like a fire within myself, and it was just waiting to start burn. But I don't know what that come from. I don't know.
It's interesting because I think there's two choices when it comes to that point. Either you lay down or you fight.
Exactly.
And sometimes you need a spark, and that spark can come from yourself or it can come from someone else. Do you remember the first person that actually believed in you, or was that yourself?
This is a tough question, and it makes me quite sad because I don't remember having those people around me. I remember maybe when I was like 16 and I met a new boyfriend, and he told me like, hey, your blog is, you know, it's quite big right now, you should do something with it. And this was like the first time somebody said that I've been doing something right. Like, hey, here, you know, you have a thing going on here, maybe you should start a business from it. So but no, I don't think so. And
is that a Swedish thing, you think, to not lift people up?
Yes, of course.
Can you just talk about that? Because I like being here in LA, it's so amazing because you get to spend time with just amazing people. Whatever you say, they say good for you, go for it. And in Sweden sometimes jantelag, in the law of jante, I think it's starting to change because of people like yourself that are going for it, that have the courage to go out and say, I'm gonna fly a private jet, I'm gonna have my own nanny, I'm gonna have, which is right here, it's so normal. But in Sweden, people kind of get mad and I don't even understand, why are you mad if someone else created their own life amazing? You know, can you just talk, why is it like that, and how can we change that?
So there is a reason for why it is that in Sweden. So, you know, in the 50s, after the Second War, our government really were focusing on that everybody should have the same. You know, everybody should have, it should be equal economy, and if you're gonna get old, you can get paid for the government, so you can stay home. And so the idea from the beginning was that everybody should have the same. And it's, you know, it's quite, you know, it's a romantic picture of the world. But then when everybody have the, you know, they can be able to pay the rent, they have money for going on vacation once a year, then if somebody wants to do something except from that, then it's like, no, come back again here.
Even
to
teachers
life.
in school, a lot of times, I know a lot of successful people, like they've been shot down by their teachers. Hello, you're there if you say you want to do something, say it's gonna be a lot of work, but let's go for it. Don't say no, that's not realistic. I mean, what is even realistic? You know, it's
but because I'm always positive, and at that time when people and the journalists in Sweden, they were very, you know, they were giving me a lot of attention in the beginning, just because of I was so young. I was 16 when I started the first company. I was earning a lot of money because of my social, and so the journalist was like, who is she, and making money off a blog, is that even possible?
Yeah.
So I was, they were writing bad things because I was doing something new, but I was happy for the attention.
Yeah.
Because then my blog became even bigger and I could earn more money of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's typical for me, to always see the great thing in everything.
Yeah. I love that. And Aristotle said, say nothing, do nothing. That's to be liked, say nothing, do nothing. But I mean, we don't want to be friends with everybody.
No.
I think if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong.
Yes.
You're not going for your potential, right?
No. And I've been number one in Scandinavia since I was 14.
Yeah.
I'm 28 today. That's half my life.
Yeah.
And if I, was trying to satisfy everybody during the way, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm not trying to be controversial just because it's fun.
No.
It's more that I'm more like I'm more like the American spirit within myself. Trying to reach for my goals and support others, and people just hate that in Sweden.
Yeah, I know. I think usually what it comes down to, what I've realized is when you talk to those people and really look them in the eyes, they lack something in their own life, and it comes from fear. And to go after what you have done and done all of this, you've had a lot of fucking fear, right?
Yeah.
But you have stood your ground and you have learned from it.
Yeah.
So when you face your fears, we're all afraid. If we're not afraid, we're working in our comfort zone, and there's nothing good happens in the comfort zone.
No.
So can you just talk about, when did you realize that you were onto something with your blog, that this could actually be something?
So it was quite early. I was like 15, 16 years old, and I had like 300,000 readers every day. So it was quite much, for Sweden, we're 10 million people.
Yeah.
And I noticed that all the online magazines, we had like the same numbers of readers.
Yeah.
But they were earning a lot of money because of the banners and the advertising. So I just started my first business, and then I started to...
Basically selling advertising,
yes.
Right?
So I skipped school, or between when I had like a spare time from school, I was just, taking the phone up and was calling all the different brands and asking.
You did that yourself?
Yes,
Wow.
I was spending a lot of time just asking for, like, hi, a tech brand. Do you want to have your camera on my blog? Do you want to have your lip gloss on my blog? And it took a while, but after like 3 months, 4 months, I could have my first salary, and after that it went quite fast. And then it became something, because then the media wrote like, oh, she's earning money from her blog. I think I was the first one in Scandinavia doing that. But then the hard thing here was I had created a character, and the character wasn't me.
When did people knew who you were? Or when did you come out with that?
Yes. So when I become a public person in Sweden, it wasn't me. It was the character. Yeah. And that was pretty hard. So then I started to do a lot of interviews, trying to explain who I were, instead of just the character. But just to show that I'm not that Paris Hilton girl. I'm more like a boring entrepreneur behind it. But last year I was awarded as the most powerful businesswoman in Sweden. So today, nobody cares about the beginning. Yeah. But right at that time, it was quite tough.
Yeah, I understand. You're a beautiful nerd. Can we say it?
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool, right? Because we all judge people. It's so easy to judge, and we all do it. The times are changing in this world. Yes. Like, we look at someone with a different color, or someone that looks good and are blonde, and the first thing a lot of people think, no, she's not clever, or he's a thief, or like. But when we take off those layers, just like you did with the acne, we actually realize, okay, we're all human beings. We all have the same need. We want to be loved. We want to be appreciated. Yeah. And when we can look someone in the eyes and actually understand that, it's much easier to connect, right?
It is. Yeah. And also now, I think another hard thing is when you look through your social and you see, everyone's account, everybody's having so much friends, and they're having so much support, and like friends see you, they have so much people around you. And I want to say that, I've been so lonely during my years. Yeah. And And I know that a lot of people that are listening, can feel that, and you can have a lot of friends, but you can still feel very lonely.
Yeah.
And I used to want to say that that's okay.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of us feeling that every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're feeling that, if you're gonna continue work and you build your company, then you're gonna find people.
Yeah.
But you're just gonna realize that you're gonna be even more lonely.
Yeah.
So that is one of my advices, just trying to learn to live with that feeling.
Yeah.
So then you have to become your own best friend.
Yeah.
So you can have your Tuesday night at home, you can sit, I'm flying half the year,
Yeah.
and I can be satisfied with my own company.
Yeah.
But you have to practice that all the time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. As a martial artist, we spend a lot of time in solitude doing meditation. I don't know if you meditate.
A lot.
So you know how important it is to be centered as a human being. And I've realized, of all the successful people I met, probably more than 90% are meditating, because it is lonely when you're going for your dreams. It is hard. It's failures all the time,
Yeah.
but that's not what people see. They
No.
see you. This is this social media queen. She's running an empire. She's probably farting pink clouds,
Exactly.
That's not the reality.
No.
We all go through our own shit, but we still have to do it.
Yes.
Right? We
Yes.
still have to go after it.
And it's worth it.
Yeah.
So, as an entrepreneur, every day when you're waking up, there's a new problem.
Yeah.
There's new challenging things every day.
Yeah.
So you really have to, you really have to find something that is worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back to yourself and see, what is my passion? What
Yeah.
what things in life is going to make me happy?
Yeah.
And then it's when meditation is so important, because you need to find that kind of space.
Yeah.
Because everything today goes so fast. So you need to have that time every day. I have at least 30 minutes every morning or before I go to bed. Just having that, creating my own space, sit quiet, no music, just let my thoughts go around, just to get to know myself all the time. Because when you do that, it's more easy for me to say, I want to do this, but not that.
Yeah.
And from that, you can always pick the right things, the things that are making you happy.
Yeah.
And to go from that, it's that's my way to live.
Yeah. No, I think it's so important, especially when you're constantly bombarded with. I'm reading this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't know if you read it.
No.
You have to read it. It's about communication, one of the best books of all time. And I realized that usually when we come to somebody, we want something from them, right? Which is the complete wrong way. And you experience that every day. Can you please post my my clothes? Can you please, people want something, but I mean, what are you getting from that?
Exactly.
It's not, that's not how it works. But if you think about you first, what can I do for Isabella? Of course you want to help out too, right? Yeah. And I think that kind of mindset is something that we have to think about. And one thing that I talking about the lonely road, it is worth it. Like last night, I probably slept 3 or 4 hours because this was last minute, and I always want to do research because I think it's fair to you because you're devoting your life to something, and I want to be able to see, okay, I know a little bit about this person. I can ask the right questions. We can share, because this is going to stay for a lifetime. Yeah. This conversation, people can listen to this in 100 years, going through their own shit, right? And say, oh, wow, this young girl, she was 12 years old. She moved from home, and she did it,
Yeah. So it's, and about what you're saying, that that people always want something from you. Yeah. That is actually also because there's a lot of things fantastic here in the US, but I noticed that we have a business culture in Sweden that we can bring here. So, because today when we were sitting with, I've been eating a lot of dinners, drinking wine, doing this kind of wine and dining, and it takes a lot of time for somebody to say what they actually want here. They're, too polite, speaking about families and traveling and things. So, and being a Swedish person, I'm very straightforward. Yeah. So the first 5 minutes, I'm always explaining why we're sitting together, why I ask them out for dinner, what I can do, what they can do, and how we can meet and have a win-win situation. Yeah. And from that, when they know my idea, then we can start a great conversation about other stuff. Yeah. So I think that is one a great key for me. Always to be don't don't be scared to be very honest and
Yeah.
direct of what you want to do and what you can give back.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, especially in business. Like when you actually tell people what you
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
and what it could help you,
Yeah.
you appreciate it.
Yes.
Because it saves so much time, right?
It does.
So let's talk about dreams. What are your big dreams? You already accomplished so many dreams, but like, what are your big dreams for the next 5-10 years? I know you're here now, creating this agency. Just talk about like your big dreams.
Yeah. So I spent half my life working with social and learn how to communicate online. And I have been selling on my name in Scandinavia. So today I have been collecting all my knowledge since half my life and put it in one agency. So that is why we're in New York. So our new office over there is to establish the agency. But the big goal that I have is to become the world's most powerful businesswoman.
Wow.
So I have the picture in front of me.
Yeah.
Like I see it every morning when I'm waking up. So it's like the Forbes cover, and I'm on the cover being #1 in the world, and so that's my big goal and dream.
And what drives you to be #1? Why is it so important?
It's just a goal.
Yeah.
I don't think that the goal by itself is so important. It's just to have a big goal.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the first goal I had was to become the #1 in Sweden.
Yeah.
And then I reached it.
Yeah.
So then I can think, should I be, #1 in Scandinavia? No, it's too easy.
Yeah.
So I have to think big.
Yeah.
So I think, goals for me is just one way to motivate myself.
Yeah. And I think you need that goal that is so big that it scares the shit out of you.
Yes. But the fun thing right now, because I am self-made, I'm self-funded in all the business. So today I'm trying to figure out how to start a new business group that will give back more.
Yeah.
Because that is where I get my energy from.
Yeah.
So today, or after the summer, I'm launching my own charity in my own name.
Wow.
So 10% of all the companies that I'm working with, investing in, doing something with, will always go to the charity.
Yeah.
And the charity will give amount of money every year to like great people and organizations. So I just hired one, Aristotle, and she's working full time on this.
Yeah.
And
I spoke to her this morning.
Yeah. So to work with the charity and to help others, to invest in others, that's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I think like service to others. That's why I do this. Like it's the most amazing feeling, right?
It is.
It feels so good.
Yeah, I can start crying just thinking about it.
Yeah. What do you want to change in the world with this organization?
Yes. So everyone, has their own things, that's your heart beeps for.
Yeah.
And for me is to inspire more women to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because in Sweden, where we are from, it's very equal. We see a lot of women, having their career. And I am a mother of 2, but if you can just go to Switzerland, like 2 hours from Sweden, and you will notice that it's not equal anymore.
Yeah.
It's impossible for a woman to do a career at the same time when she has kids.
Yeah.
So to inspire other women to invest in other women. So one of the charities I'm working with called Hand in Hand, and they're investing in women in, for example, India, so they can start their own business, and so they can start owning money, and then it goes from that. So I don't believe in actually giving just the amount of money. I want to give them so they can build something. Because as you know, it gives so much more than just, it gives you your self-esteem, it gives you happiness, and you're gonna spread the world to your kids and to other people. So that's my goal. Like, how many entrepreneurs can I build or inspire during my years?
That's awesome. And why do you think some women are afraid of being an entrepreneur?
There's a lot of risk always, and I don't know why it is that way, but we know that guys are more willing to take risk than women are.
Or stupid?
I don't know, I'm quiet over here. But so but in the same time, you get so much more back if you're
Yeah.
taking the risk. That is
Yeah.
how economy works.
Yeah.
So I want to inspire you to show women that you can have this world too.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, all the men, they were doing the business in the guys dinner and the secret clubs, men smoking cigars, doing business. Today we have women using social.
Yeah.
And they have the network around the entire world.
Yeah.
So when they start their own bikini swimwear clothes,
Yeah.
their friends can make them make the company grow worldwide in a couple of months.
Women are much better than that, and guys, yeah,
they are so good at being to create a network on the social media.
yeah,
So I think we're just gonna see an era of young women starting as billion-dollar companies
Yeah.
through social, and I'm so happy for that.
Yeah.
Finally.
It is great, and let's talk about risk, because I know a lot of people, not only women, are afraid of taking risk, right? But if you want to accomplish a dream, if it's a business, becoming an artist, or whatever it is, creating a family, right?
That's
it's
a
a
big
big risk
risk.
because half of all the marriages fail, right? And it's because we're human beings.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's not easy. It's not easy to love yourself.
Yeah.
So how do you see risk, and what tools do you have to help others to see risk in a more positive way?
Yes. So risk is there's it's I think people are afraid of failures. That's the risk. You can actually have a failure, and so you have to to think different about what a failure is. So for me, I have started, I think it's 13 companies during my 12 years of being an entrepreneur, and the 8 first companies didn't succeed. And for normal people, they were thinking oh, I have started 6 companies and they didn't work, so maybe I should go back to school instead of starting my number 7. But for me, those 8, they weren't failures. They were my learnings. So every time I do something wrong, where it doesn't succeed, we always think, how can we learn from that? So we have to have that mindset all the time, and then the risk is not so much risk anymore. It's more okay, are we get learnings today, or are we earn money today? Different things, but both are important.
Fail or learn, and if we look at the most successful people, they fail all the time. And I mean, I've competed in karate, so when I fail, it hurts a lot. And I can tell you, it's not
both
that
mentally
bad.
and physically.
Mentally, physical, all, I've been crying, so many times. And people ask, how did it go? And I've been so fucking miserable. But somehow I went back to, why did I do this? I love doing this, and it's worth it. And failing is not that bad.
No,
it's a good feeling because you feel alive.
Get used to it. Get used to failures. It's the failures that are making you grow.
Yeah.
Every time you're succeeding with things, you don't learn anything.
Yeah.
So you have to fail. You have to like that kind of feeling of making oh, I'm doing something wrong right now. How can I learn from that?
Yeah.
And also to create a culture within your business that everybody thinks that way.
Yeah. It's okay to fail,
Yes, and when you want to grow with your business, it's more important to keep up the speed.
Yeah.
So everybody is working fast, trying new things all the time, and realize that you're doing wrong things all the time. Instead of doing something slower, but you're doing everything 100%. So keep up the speed. Don't be afraid of failures, and you have to think of failures differently. That this is my best learnings.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I read, speaking of how to win friends and influence people, there was a story there about a technician for a pilot, and he made a huge mistake. So they had to do this safe landing, and they barely survived. And imagine the pilot, he was, in a way, he could have been so pissed off, but you know what he said to that person? He said, just because I trust you and you're never gonna do this mistake again, tomorrow fix my plane again. Instead of firing that guy, and I'm sure that guy never made that mistake again.
He's the best one to work with.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about ownership. When you fail, do you own it or do you blame other people?
I'm always owning everything. because it's all, if you are the owner of the company, you know that's your responsibility. And of course I'm giving my staff a lot of freedom. They can run for their own things, but in the end it's always, I'm the responsible. And it's important for them to know that, so they can relax and just focus to achieve things.
And how do you carry yourself with all that pressure? What do you do for you to fill your cup up?
To be honest, it's very heavy to carry for companies with 80 employees. You feel that on your shoulders every day. And especially when it's like 6 p.m. and the kids are they have to eat dinner and somebody's calling, there's a problem in the business, and then you feel like, this is tough. But again, it's something that you have to get used to live with. But the answer to the question is, it's important to have that so everyone in the company have their own responsibility, and I have to trust them that they are doing their job. So never do the job twice.
No micromanaging.
Never. So and I learned that quite young to
that
never
must be
micromanage.
hard, right? Was it hard to trust other people in that way? Don't you want, because it's your baby, right? Don't you want to look? How did you work on that?
I'm quite rational as a person, so I just figure out that if I'm gonna try to micromanage everything, I'm gonna end up in hospital with no energy. So I just had to stop doing that. And especially in the beginning, you will notice that 20% of the work is not done and something is missing. But in the end, it's better to just go through the 20% of the work that's not done, and then after that you will find a way to work, and that way is going to be much better. So you have to just force yourself not to ask 2 questions or trying to have control. So and there's a lot of women that are having issues with control. But I'm not. It's important to believe that always hire people that are better than yourself, and then then you don't have to micromanage.
I love that. And also Serena Williams, the tennis player, she was so tired at one point in her career, and she talked to her coach, and the coach said pressure is a privilege. And it is, right?
It is.
It's not easy, but it is a privilege, and we know that diamonds are made under pressure, right?
They are.
One thing that I want to ask you, this might be a very difficult question, but I think it's a very important one. What was the worst day in your life, and how did it change you as a human being?
Personal or in my career?
It can be anything.
No, then I have to, the day I was divorcing my ex-husband. That was tough. Because, in my work, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty, I'm very strong. I know what I'm doing. My self-esteem is very high. There's not so much things that are, can be in my way when I work. But in my personal life, I think I'm much more behind. Then I'm not the 28-year-old girl. I'm more like a 20-year-old, because I was missing that developing part of my life because I was working so much. So I didn't have the tools to go through a divorce. I didn't know how to handle it. So I was shutting down everything and just this is not gonna affect me, in one way. So I was just work all the time. But in the end, everything comes back and bite you. So I realized that I have to. There's no thing that's just have your emotion in a little box and throw away the key. It doesn't work like that. No, everything is gonna come back to you. So that was a very tough time in my life to realize that I actually have to go through all my feelings. And when I did that, starting to talk to a therapist, going through the divorce, my entire childhood pops up. So everything pops up. So I was I was dealing with my companies. I had a 2-year-old at home, living by myself with the kids, and I have my childhood that I have to to work with.
Yeah.
So that was a very tough time in my life. But then like I said, I'm quite rational, so I was like, okay, now I have 3 months. They're gonna be tough 3 months here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be talking to my therapist twice every week. I'm gonna be quite low. Yeah. And then I was telling my friends that I'm not gonna be able to do all the fun things. Yeah. I was telling my colleagues that I'm going through a tough time in my life. Yeah. So I think the key always is to talk and to have to straight conversation.
Vulnerable.
Yes, to say to others that this is tough right now, so people know.
But how do you deal with that when people know you as this positive, smiling girl and waiting for your next update, so they can feed their life? How do you deal with that?
And that's tough. From the beginning, when I was when I didn't have so many followers, I was able like the same day to say that this is happening right now. Yeah. Like, please help me. What's your ideas? Now, when I'm bigger than most of the magazines in Sweden, it's impossible for me to say that I'm divorcing today. I have to wait a couple of months with everything so everything can be. I have to go through everything by myself first, and I also have to think about the other people that I'm involving in this public world. Yeah. So then you just have to pretend. Yeah. But my followers, they are so smart, and they see right through me. Yeah. So they know that now she's going through a tough time, or now she's in love, or they're seeing everything. Yeah. So that is why I try always to be transparent, and to say that right now I'm going through a time and it's hard for me to say anything about it, but just so you know. Yeah. Because it's impossible to lie for your followers. Yeah. It's you shouldn't do that because they see right through you.
And they see right through it, and they're your family in a way, right?
They are my family.
Let's talk about your kids. How was it to become a mom, and how has that changed you as an individual and a businesswoman?
Yeah. It was very scary, and to be honest, I didn't want to become a mother, and I didn't see myself having kids.
You're pretty young.
I was 22 or 23, and then the other came 1 year after, so they were quite close. And there's a lot of women saying that kids is my life, and that's my goal, and I didn't feel that, and that's quite hard to be a woman and don't feeling that.
You get people hate on that. It's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. And today I can, I love my kids, and today I love being a mother. Yeah. But I have to say that I'm a better entrepreneur than I am a mother. Yeah. And when I say that, people are getting upset. Yeah. But
why do you think people get upset by that?
Because I think that motherhood should come like natural if you're a woman. Yeah. And for me, it doesn't. Yeah. So for me, when I'm waking up and running my companies, everything comes natural for me. I'm a natural leader. Yeah. But to raise my 2 kids, I really have to put an effort of doing that, because it doesn't come as natural for me, and that's also important to say, that you can be a parent in different ways. Yeah. And I'm very happy that they have a fantastic dad, and he's very much of a mommy dad. He's very sensitive, and he's perfect. And I think I'm maybe more hard. They've been with me at my work since they were newborns. Yeah. But they're very they are very calm. They are 2 fantastic kids, and they're very strong. And I'm very proud of them, but it's I have to be honest, it's been very tough to be a mother and having the companies at the same time. So I'm still learning, and sometimes I'm asking my 5-year-old son, he's so smart, Gillis, should we go to bed now, or do you want to stay up for a little bit longer, or can you please decide? But so I think that when they are older, they're gonna look back and see that we had a very like fun mother. She was a bit crazy and confused sometimes, but she loved us very much, and she showed us the way of how to stand on your own feet, to be independent, and the way that they are raising up right now is totally different compared to my childhood.
Yeah.
Because I was living in a very a tough neighborhood.
Yeah.
We didn't have any money. My kids are flying private jet. They have 2 nannies. They have a chef at home. Their life is crazy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can feel like, oh no, I'm raising 2 spoiled kids.
Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Yes, I'm dealing quite much with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want I don't want to give them that, because that's gonna make them, I want to give them a happy life.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm showing them how important there is to work.
Yeah.
So they're coming to my work, they're flying with me, they're seeing how much time I'm spending.
Yeah.
I'm having the board meetings at home after they are going to bed, and when they're waking up like 11, they can come by and come down to us, and they can sit on my lap, they can fall asleep again.
Yeah.
But they're seeing me work all the time, and I think that's the only way to show them what money comes from.
Yeah.
That you have to fight hard for it.
I agree with you, and I think there's a misconception with a lot of people that are successful and rich are bad people, or that they are spoiling their kids, but it's not true. If you raise your kids in a good way, it's amazing. Who doesn't want to have their kids flying a private jet? You just have to explain what this means, that mommy have worked really, really hard to create this, right? It didn't come from thin air.
No.
It's been a lot of time you've spent. You dedicated your life to this, and people forget that. Everybody wants to be Isabella, right? But it's not that easy. Like, you have to do the work.
Yeah, exactly. And to teach them the right things. They're very young, but every day we're talking about things that we are grateful for.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to hear a 4-year-old saying what she is grateful of. So like last week, she was saying that, Mom, there's so much green grass everywhere, and I'm so happy to see the grass. Finally, it's summer in Sweden.
Yeah.
So just to hear a 4-year-old reacting, of grass, that was made me happy, because he had so many toys and iPads and stuff.
Yeah.
And my 5-year-old, his biggest passion in life is animals.
Yeah.
So he's a vegetarian. He became a vegetarian when he was 3.5.
Oh wow.
And so today we have a
that's so cool.
Yeah, so we have a project together that we're giving money and we're helping animals.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make them like understand how we can help, give back, but also being grateful for the right things in life.
Yeah.
And I'm always asking them 2 things every day. What are they grateful of, and what have they done to help another person? So they're saying, I helped Anna with tying her shoes at daycare.
That's so good. And these are the small things that adds up, right?
Yeah.
The person who helps someone with that is the person who's going to help someone with their whole life in a way. So can we just talk about, like, Isabella, are you hard on yourself?
No, I don't think so. If you ask people around me, they would say that that I have to do things all the time and I have to do it correctly, and like this. It's very hard for me to just be on the couch watching Netflix.
Yeah.
I can count the hours every year that I'm doing that, but I don't see it in that way. For me, it's I'm quite I'm taking every day like as it is, and doing my best all the time. Yeah. And some of the days are 100%, and some are not, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's just your code of conduct, to have high standards, and you want to do the best in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but to be honest, I think I have to work more of taking everything a bit slow and do nothing. Yeah. So because I have a very hard time to watch a movie, to be honest. Yeah. Because I feel that I can spend my 2 hours in a better way.
Yeah.
But
I have the same problem.
Yeah. But then I have realized that the hours that I'm spending in watching a movie is exactly as important. Yeah. That's my hours that I'm working, because I'm recovering, and I need that.
Yeah, and you need to fill your cup.
Yeah,
you know,
you do.
Especially like you're like this professional athlete basically. You're working with your mind and your body all the time, and it's always catching up in some way, right? We gotta stop. And like I realize my best ideas usually come when I go on vacation for a couple of weeks and don't do nothing, because that's the time when everything slows down, right?
It's true.
But how do you handle, because every time you go on Instagram, you check your emails, like thousands and thousands of people that wants to connect with you. How do you and your brain handle that? You know, and what tips can you give to others that are chasing likes?
Yeah. I think I first have to explain that I have been creating my life if I were like a sports person.
Yeah.
Like one of the best in the world. Like Mark Zuckerberg, you know, he's having his same T-shirt every day. You know, you have to be careful of what you're spending your energy on.
Yeah.
So I'm doing exactly the same, like creating my world so I can, when I have to achieve, when I have to do something, when I have to be in the meeting, I'm going to be in the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And then you have to have the team around you that does other things. So that is why I have, you know, if people are following me on my Instagram, they think it's, oh wow, she have her own stylist. That's convenient.
Yeah.
But why I have all those people and stuff around me is just that I can save my energy. Because I know that I'm going to work from like 6 in the morning until like 2 in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So I need to keep my energy, and that is why I need my PA, I need my stylist, I need to do someone does my makeup and doing my food. But you know, from the beginning, it wasn't possible for me to have that way. I was doing everything by myself.
Yeah.
But that's an advice I have, to try to delegate as fast as you can, so you can save your energy for the things that you're doing the best. Yeah. It's very important, especially when you're growing with your business. Yeah. Can you delegate something to somebody? Do that in the middle. Do that directly. Yeah. And because it's a great invest for you. You know, you're investing in your energy. But the question about people are trying to reach out to you, and there's a lot of emails every day. You know, from the beginning I was trying to answer everything, but now I am a public person, so I have my agent, I have somebody goes through everything, I have a security team goes through everything. So today it's a bit different. Yeah. Is it different in a good way? It feels better for you? You can, or are you missing that kind of old days? I'm missing it very much, because I'm missing out of information. Yeah. Because like 5 years ago, I was able to read all my emails by myself. I was able to read the direct message on each social. Yeah. But now, when it's not possible anymore, and when somebody else does that, I'm missing the information of seeing, okay, oh, people are asking about my dry shampoo, or they want to buy my shoes, or you know, I can see a trend. So that is why every time I have some extra time, I always go through everything after. So that is why I saw your direct message. No, it's a new it's a new life for me. It is. But I'm always trying to see the good thing is in it, and now I have time to make more business, to run to meetings, to network more. And when something important is written to me, somebody else is seeing that. Yeah, I think that's just the process. Otherwise you would have gone crazy sitting answering messages every day, every hour of the day. You know, you can't do that. And as you know, I've written a couple of books. One is about goal settings, it's about dreams. So I'm curious, what's your process when it comes to goals? How do you do it? I just want to say I'm just going for it. No, but I'm quite fast. Yeah. That's my superpower. Yeah. I don't think so much. I have everything in my head. I have never, I think I never use my computer anymore. I almost not, I use my phone, taking some notes, but most of my ideas and goals, I have everything in my head. Yeah. So I'm just trying. So when I have a big idea, for example, I realized that I wanted to have my own charity for like a month ago. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I have to find a person that can do that for me. Yeah. So I was just out in my channels looking for a CSR charity person, hired that one, and just started. So I'm very fast. I never ask other of their opinion of my idea.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing to? Because I've realized I used to ask the wrong people
Yes.
About opinions, and they used to shoot me down like crazy.
Yeah. And you have to realize that people's mindset, they are, they want you to be safe,
Yeah.
not to be sad,
Yeah.
not to have a tough time.
Yeah.
So they would rather, answer something that it's not so high risk.
Yeah.
So then they're gonna say, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't go to start your business in New York, or
Yeah.
don't start, do that. Don't do that, because the risk is so high. So that is why I've stopped asking questions.
I love that.
And just go for it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
No, I think you're right. It's all about action. And I mean, a lot of times we ask people that have never done that before. I mean, if I want to write a book, I shouldn't ask someone that's never written a book.
Your mother-in-law.
Yeah. I should ask someone that's written a book, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I love this social media world, because there's answers to everything, You can reach out directly to people like you on traveling, and now we're here sitting and this would not be possible even 10 or 15 years ago, right? We're living in an amazing world, and that's why I want to share this. I want to share as much as I possibly can, because it helps people,
Yes. And I used, because I do a lot of investments, and I used to notice there's a lot of people writing their business ideas and trying to figure out everything on a paper before they are going to action. And that's the wrong thing. You have to do it the opposite way. Always try first, touch the market, see how it goes, and then you can change the business idea from that. But you have to start first. And to be honest with that, you can say that this website is not done yet, but we have just launched it 2 days ago. And so go in here, see what you like, and if you have an opinion, please write me to it. So please share it. And I think that this is our new generation. It's okay to, we don't have to set up 100% perfectly and then launch everything. We can just start first and learn.
It's never perfect, and I mean,
it's never and it's also because everything is going so fast today. So you can never launch anything and it's 100%, because tomorrow it will be old.
And that's a great advice for people listening to this that want to start a business, that want to start a blog, that want to become an artist. Put it out there and see what happens. A guy that I met and had on my podcast, he's known as the world's most disciplined man. He wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, 7 days a week. He's crazy.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, he's crazy. But he says action beats anxiety.
It does.
And
it does.
I totally agree. I only have 2 more questions. We're running out of time. You have a flight to catch to New York. And the question that I have for you, you have ADHD, right?
Yeah.
And I want, because we've been talking about that could be a superpower, right?
It is.
Can you just share that? Because we know a lot of successful people, in this world, some people want to put a label on you, but can you just talk about that and how that has actually helped you?
Yeah. So it's 2 sides of it. So ADHD, it's my superpower, and I'm very proud of it, and I would never take it away. But it also it's a bit, I have to work with it every day, and in my work it's only a superpower, but in my daily private life it's very tough to manage. Just for example, this morning we were packing the bags because we're flying to our office in New York after this, and to pack things, that's my I can start a business tomorrow. I can have a talk in front of 2,000 people, but to pack my bags, that's the tough part. Because I don't know where to start. Should I go for my charger or for my toothbrush? Should I get dressed first or drink coffee first? I don't know. So I was saying out loud to my staff, can you please pretend that I'm a robot. Say one thing at a time. I'm doing this, and then I'm gonna come back and you can say another thing. So we're doing that all the morning. I was doing my toothbrush, taking my coffee, getting my dress, everything. So, and I was so ashamed of not being able to even go to a grocery store, to picking up a few things and then cook dinner for my kids. That's impossible for me to do. I would start crying in the grocery store. And then my ex-husband, he was yelling at me. So, but today I'm so comfortable knowing what I can do and not do.
Yeah.
So everything that is very tough for me to do, like planning stuff, normal stuff, I have people that are helping me with it.
Yeah.
So then I can just use my superpower in my work.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of energy. I never feel jet lag.
Yeah.
I can go on for hours with no sleep, and I have extremely high energy. Yeah. And so we're using that as a force.
That's awesome. And to everybody out there that other people put labels on you, whatever it is, skin color, ADHD, a woman, man, gay, whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You're a human being.
Yeah.
Create your own life.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the last question, Isabella. And we're all about sharing journeys, but I want the people that are listening and watching this to take action to create their own life.
Good.
Because then this is worth it.
Yes.
So what would be your best tool for that?
Yeah. So, okay. So start to find create your own space every day.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. So find, like, it can be 5 minutes. Give your iPad to the kids, in the morning. So you have 5 minutes before going and leaving the bed. Or 10 minutes in the shower, or even, I have 30 minutes in the bed every morning.
Yeah.
Just to be still and let your thoughts just coming and go.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe you can think about your goals, what you achieve, but just try to listen to your body. Yeah. And, the first days, you're not going to feel so much. But when you, keep doing it, your body is going to tell you what you want in life and not. Yeah. Maybe today you really want to go for a walk, or you really want to call a friend or eat something like that. Yeah. So your body's gonna tell you what it needs. It can be kale. You don't know. So if you start there, everything is gonna be so much easier from that. Because then you know that this day I have a lot of energy. I can keep work. Today I have a tough day. I have to be nice to myself. Because when you get to know yourself 100% or maybe 110%, then you can start do something in life. And then you're gonna be independent. Then you can say that I'm gonna say no to this because this is not my passion. You're gonna be so much cooler. And that's good. And
have the courage to really do it.
Exactly.
I love that, to get to know yourself. And just as a token of gratitude before we end, I have a gift for you, and that's, I've written 4 books, but this is 2. Yeah, this is 2 that I think you would really like. And one is about balance. And I think a person like you might need this sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the second one is actually the research I've done about morning routines. And I hope you will like this. This is for you. This is for Charlotte. So these 2 are for you.
Thank you so much.
So hope you like those. And
wow.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I actually sent you a book a couple of years ago. I don't know if you have it. It's about goal settings.
Okay.
I don't know. You probably get a lot of things sent to you, but this is like way back. But that's it, Isabella. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This meant the world to me, that you took of your valuable time to come here and share with the world. That shows what a person you are and what you want to do in this world. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for watching and listening to this amazing episode with Isabella. If you like what we do, go to ilovesuccess.co, subscribe, and you can get so many tools. We have hundreds of amazing conversations. I give you a couple of free chapters of my book. And there's something else that I wanted to ask you about. If you enjoy this conversation, share it with someone that needs it right now, because I want to help at least 10 million people in 10 years. I can't do it myself. The only way I can do it is by people like Isabella coming on here and by you sharing this with the world. So please help us out, and we're on here to share and support your dreams. Thanks a lot.